Hello, Valerie here. Take number 6. um, Talking for 2 minutes is just too short of a time for all the love that I have for these books. Originally coming into this project, I thought it wasn't going to be very useful. I figured that if I had a physical copy of the book on me, or if I had read it once, that it would be embedded into my brain and I wouldn't need to have this virtual library. But now that I see that it's so important for me to have, because if I don't have those physical copies, a lot of these books I remember from my childhood, but I totally forgot about them now. So just being able to have them all in this one place and for the rest of my career be able to refer back to it, I think is really important. So my least favorite books would have to come from the informational slash bibliography or the science fiction section, particularly science fiction, just because I don't really like science fiction. Um, it's not really my thing. I know that a lot of students read Fahrenheit 451. I didn't have to read it, but after reading it now, I see that it's really eye-opening to just think about what uh, things that you should learn for yourself and not just listen to other people. And although I find it really beneficial, and I think that that's a very important um, message for people to understand, I think that this is a book not so much for the classroom setting. I think it's something that people should find on their own. And I also think that it's something that people need to find an interest in just because of the way it was written. It kind of takes you into this fantasy world, but it represents our own world. And it's not my thing. My favorite books, basically everything on here is my favorite book. I'm very picky with my books. If I don't like the first few chapters or the first couple of pages, I just put the book down, not my thing. But my absolute favorites would have to come from the historical fiction section. Little Women is my favorite story of all time. I have 4 older sisters, so this just speaks to me. It's my favorite movie, my favorite play, my favorite musical, my favorite book, just everything about it. Jo is one of my most favorite fictional characters. She's just an icon for the feminist. I absolutely adore her. Sarah's Key is also a really great book. It talks about the Holocaust, but from a different perspective. So if you have a chance to read any of these books, and if you haven't already, I will lend you these books because they're just too amazing. Everybody needs to experience them. Um, as for the books that I would use in my curriculum, I would definitely use. I really like the books North to South. I have it over here in my literature representing diverse populations. I liked From North to South as well as A Day's Work. I personally really liked these books just because they represented a group of people that I affiliate with. In my almost 20 years now, have never read a book representing these people that I know, that I love, that I grew up with, that I am, um, which is really interesting now that I think about it. But I think that it shows a truth that so many students face today of the troubles and the hardships that they have to deal with that are just a part of their life, that I think that it's nice to be able to be recognized. And I think it'd also be very beneficial for students who don't have affiliations to this culture to just sort of see the way they live and the struggles that they have and sort of appreciate that about them. um, I really enjoyed all of these diverse population books. um, I would also, in my classroom, I would definitely use these historical fiction books. My Brother Sam is Dead, Sarah's Key. I think they're all books that um, will go more in detail than their textbooks can go into. And I think it'll really make it real to them and sort of help them to actually remember these things that have occurred. Because I just don't think that reading straight facts is it's easy for children to retain. And Sarah's Key goes into the French's involvement in the Holocaust and the Ville de Hive and how French soldiers had a part in rounding up Jewish people. And I think that is something that doesn't get talked about. I didn't know about it. The woman in the book who is researching this girl, Sarah's story, didn't even know about it. So I just think it's also really interesting. I also think that Anne Frank Beyond the Diary is also good to use in a classroom, just because it uses a lot of pictures. And I think often we think, wow, like the Holocaust was such a long time ago. But by seeing these pictures, you're like, wow, it wasn't that long ago. It sort of just makes everything sink in and makes it a lot more real. So I think that's also something that would be very beneficial towards students. Dr. Seuss's ABCs is one of the greatest books ever, and I honestly think it would be really great for teaching little ones, probably in preschool, their ABCs and whatnot. And the traditional and folk tales, you know, I love Falling for Rapunzel. These books all down here are amazing just to help the reading skills of students and helping them to develop that way. Um, Falling for Rapunzel was absolutely amazing. Like I'm almost 20 years old and I was just dying of laughter. I couldn't get through it. But I could talk for apparently 20 minutes about these books, so we'll go ahead and end it here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in class soon. Bye bye.